Deep within the world of Pokemon and the hundreds of episodes released, there's a handful of these episodes that have been banned. Now, unfortunately for this little guy, he was the featured Pokemon of one of these episodes. This is his story gaining redemption in the only way that I know how, a solo run. But before all that, hello everybody and welcome, I am Bricker Boom, and today we're going to see if we can beat the game Pokemon FireRed using only a Porygon. Porygon is an interesting Pokemon with an interesting backstory. Being the first Pokemon that is actually man-made, he had an entire episode based off of him that ended up being banned in the US, but today we want to take a look at the things that make him good or bad in battle. Now, right off the bat, I do want to let you know I'm using a different program for the script recording. I'm hoping that in doing so, it'll actually make it so there is less of an echo, less feedback, etc. So let me know if you like this setup, or if you've watched prior episodes, let me know if you like that one better. I think this one may sound a little bit better, but I don't know because I hear myself every day doing these video edits while you only hear me once a week, so your opinion matters more than mine. Let's hop into it. So, to look at all of its stats here, Porygon is a special attacker, and it's definitely the best of all of his stats, and as for move variety, it can learn a huge amount of TMs. Level up wise, it doesn't have the best moveset, but given the fact that we have so many TMs at our disposal, I imagine that we'll be fine. To look at the rules we have in place, we can only use Porygon in battle, but other Pokemon can be used for HM use. We can't use items in battle, but items in between battles is totally fine. When we grab our Mon, we take a peek at the nature, which is mild, increasing its special attack while decreasing its defense, which is also fine. With any luck, we can just one-shot most things as we get up there in levels. Our ability is Trace, which lets us know the ability of the first Pokemon that we go against in every match. Get ready to see Keen Eye a lot on screen. But we're getting way too ahead of ourselves. Let's look into the lab rival battle. The lab rival battle goes about like you'd expect, given the fact that our stats are above your typical first form starter. We take it down in 4 tackles. Squirtle is only attacking a few times and using Tail Whip once, but early lab battles are expected to be pretty easy. From here, we have some travel ahead, basically going through the forest and taking out some bugs. We want to at least make sure by the time that we get to Brock we have Psybeam. Without it, given the fact that we don't have many options in the ways of setting up a higher attack stat or healing just yet, having the Psychic move will be the probably only way to get past him. But after going through the forest, we want to double back and make sure that we take care of the optional rival fight. The rival first sends out Pidgey, and we open with Tackle, taking it to yellow thanks to a crit as we get hit with a weak tackle before taking it out. Next up is Squirtle, and we tackle, taking it to not quite half. Taking it out does take a few turns, but another lucky crit makes this battle far quicker than it probably should have been. After that, we make our way back through the forest and go to fight Brock. While this isn't technically the most optimal pathing, especially when you look at it from a time perspective, at these early levels especially, extra experience points from a trainer battle is so crucial. Because I don't want to use rare candies as soon as I hit a roadblock. I'd rather try to level up organically, because you do get, at least in the earlier games, I don't know if this is still true, you got more EXP if you leveled up that way. So just, for me, it makes more sense to do it this way, if that makes sense. I don't know. I'm rambling. Let's go ahead and take a look at Brock here. Brock starts with Geodude, and we open up with Psybeam, taking it to a little below half as we get hit with a weak tackle before knocking it out. Next up is Onix, and we get hit with Tackle, Psybeam taking it to about half as well. Bind does a couple of HP of damage before we take it to red. Tackle hits, and then we can take it down with plenty of HP to spare. Now, we have some travel along the way, and we make sure to face most of the additional trainers. Given the fact that Misty has a part Psychic type in Starmie, we want to make sure that we have some levels on her, but while we're traveling and taking a Dome Fossil, I'd like to remind you to give that like button and subscribe button a little tippity tap. Eventually, I'd like to do a subathon, or at least a 12-hour YouTube stream once I have some time, which I will hopefully be within the next few months. Also, wanted to drop a huge thank you to the folks that have been commenting on my videos with runs they'd like to see. The Shroomish to Breloom video just dropped a few hours ago at the time of writing this, but who knows when I'll actually get to record it. Anyway, let's take a look at the rival fight and see how we do. The rival starts with Pidgeotto, and Quick Attack does a little bit as we use Psybeam, taking it to red with a crit. Quick Attack takes us to 37 HP as we miss Tackle, and we get brought to almost half before taking it out. We level up in the process, and the next Pokemon is Rattata. Quick Attack takes us to 24 HP, and we can take it to a Sliver with Psybeam, and then take it out. But our HP isn't looking too great. Squirtle is next, and we Psybeam it to take about a quarter of its health as it uses Withdrawal. We hit another Psybeam and confuse it as we take it to yellow, and it hits Water Gun to take us to 6 HP before we take it out. Despite the fact that our HP is dismal at this point, Abra can't attack, so we're able to take it down, and then we heal up and fight our way through the rest of the bridge. After the rival fight, we can clear out the route to the north. We do get a few levels, and then we can try our hand at Misty. The good news is if we can't beat Misty here, or at this level, we can go to the south and gain some more levels, and if we run out of options there, we can also go on to the ship. But let's see how we do here and now. Misty starts with Staryu, and we open with Sharpen as it uses Harden. If we can't do much physically if it keeps bulking up, we can use Psybeam, but we repeat this a few times to get the extra power behind our moves. Water Pulse doesn't do much, so we continue to set up before going on the offensive. A critical hit Psybeam taking it out. Starmie comes out and Water Pulse is hitting hard, and then we knock ourselves to 2 HP with our boosted attack before getting knocked out. Overall, this isn't a hard battle by any means. It just takes a while to get the luck to properly line up. Despite the fact that Water Pulse should only have a 30% chance, roughly, to confuse us, it seems to confuse us about 100% of the time. Once we get the luck to line up and not smack ourselves, we take Starmie out in 2 tackles, though we only have 9 HP remaining when we do actually take it out. Just out of curiosity, as we head to the next little portion of the game, do you like when we do the setup strats? It lets us win at a lower level, and I like getting to see if we can beat the game at that lower level. Also, and this is just me rambling, from a solo run perspective, Trace may be the worst ability I've ever seen. All it does is tell me what the first Pokemon that gets released ability they have, while I've played this game a lot. When the game first came out, unless I had something that told me what the abilities did, learning the name wouldn't actually help much. But anyway, we go to the ship and we don't worry about fighting our way through the trainers on the ship. We actually even forget to grab a couple of the items that we typically focus on and immediately go to fight the rival. The rival first sends out Pidgeotto, and we open with Psybeam, taking it to yellow as we get hit with a weak gust. Quick Attack doesn't do much, and then we can take it out. Next is Raticate, and we get Tail Whipped, and we take it to yellow. Hyper Fang is a crit dealing a lot of damage, but we can go ahead and take it out. Next is Kadabra, and it uses Disable, so we can just recover the health that we're missing. Confusion hits for a bit of damage, but, of course, it confuses us, and of course we hit ourselves. Thankfully, it just goes for Disable again, and we heal up. We repeat this process of smacking ourselves until we just straight up snap out of confusion and tackle it to red. Tackle gets disabled, so we swap to Psybeam, taking it out. Wartortle's last, so we use Psybeam, critting it to red as it only uses Withdrawal before going down. We grab Cut from the captain, then root around in some trash cans, finding a candy bar, a great ball, 17 copper pieces, and a secret switch to go to challenge Surge. Surge sends out Voltorb first, and Sonic Boom hits us, and we fire back with Psybeam. Surge heals up, and we can take it right back to red. Another Sonic Boom chips away at our health, and then we can take it down. Next up is Pikachu, and we outspeed it to take it out with a single Psybeam. Last up is Raichu, and it begins setting up Double Team as Psybeam hits it for about a third. Surge uses a full heal to heal up its confusion, and we hit with another attack, taking it to yellow. Shockwave, thankfully, isn't doing too much, and with that, we can take it out for a pretty simple victory. With the gym out of the way, we have a good little bit of travel, and while we're traveling, what's your favorite generation of Pokemon games, including remakes? Despite the multitude of problems that come with it, I always find myself having a fun time with Heart Gold and Soul Silver. My biggest complaint is with the levels, gym leaders, and just general lack of Johto Pokemon the gym leaders have. But it does make your team even more unique, but tell me yours. The main reason is eventually I'd like to start expanding into these challenges with games like Alpha Sapphire, or if I'm feeling extra spicy that day, I can go back to the original red, blue, yellow and just glitch my way to victory. As we get through the cave and head into Celadon City, grabbing a few extra TMs, we'll likely need them later, but the one that we are definitely going to use now is Psychic. Despite our normal typing, these special moves are what's going to get us through the challenge, especially given our poor attack stat. Time to fight Giovanni with a few new moves that will likely carry us through the rest of the game. Giovanni first sends out Onyx, and we open up with Psychic, taking it to a sliver as Rage does a few points of damage, and then we finish it off with Tri-Attack. Rhyhorn is next, so we use Psychic again, taking it out in one shot. Last up is Kangaskhan, and it opens up with Bite, flinching us. The second Bite doesn't flinch, and we do almost half as it uses Tail Whip. Taking it below half, we only get Tail Whipped again, and as we take it down, we win the battle. Those two Tail Whips probably would have had us weakened enough to get knocked out in one shot, so I'm glad that we were able to knock it out first. On to Erica. Victory Bell is up first, and we can take it down with a single Psychic. Next is Tangela, and we swap over to Tri-Attack. Given the fact that it doesn't share that poison typing with the others, that's why we use this move, but we get the freeze. Erica does use a full heal, which allows us to take it down without issue. Last up is Vileplume, and we can swap back to Psychic, taking it out in one shot. Alright, that is one more badge in the bag, and now we can skedaddle back to Lavender Tower and take care of things there. First up is the rival, who sends out Pidgeotto, and thank goodness we traced Keen-Eye, but it only uses Quick Attack before it goes down to a single Psychic. Next up is Growlithe, and it lowers our pitiful attack even more, as we use Psychic to take it down. Not sure if the crit was needed, but probably not at this level. Next up is Execute, and even with our lowered attack, we use Tri-Attack, nailing it with a crit that I am 99% sure mattered. Kadabra is next, and we use Tri-Attack again, taking it down in one shot. That brings us to Wartortle, who we take to half with Tri-Attack, freeze it as it unthaws immediately, and just uses Withdrawal. The next turn, we take it out with Psychic to win the battle, and move on through the rest of the tower. Now that we're done with the tower, we have a few things to cover. The first thing is our halfway thoughts of Porygon, and overall, I kinda dig it. It's got a good moveset. Tri-Attack is great, especially when combined with Sharpen, and even with our poor attack stat, it does some good damage. The only thing that is concerning me is that I feel like our not-so-great speed, which is only a 40, is starting to unironically catch up to us, but we'll see how that goes through the rest of the game. I may use a few vitamins later on to try and make up for that. But for now, it's time for our favorite game within the game, Safari Zone Scramble. Within the Safari Zone, we immediately catch a Paris and another Paris, but unfortunately a Kangaskhan immediately flees from us. We can nab a Nidoran male, a batch of scrambled eggs, and then a Paris runs from us. That never feels good. And then a Rhyhorn runs from us. Doesn't seem like too many Pokemon want to hang out this time, because then a Venomoth leaves us. Nidoran female spends a lot of time breaking out of each ball that we have before fleeing, and then we catch another 2 Nidoran males. One of these days I'll catch... Oh, a third Nidoran male. One of these days I will catch a Chansey on ball number 1. But for now I get Nidoran male number 4. Tauros. Super cool. Runs away immediately. We get one more Paris, and then run out of Pokeballs with the next set of eggs. With our sad set of Safari Pokemon, and now knowing exactly how Ash felt catching 30 Tauros from the Safari Zone, we head to Koga's gym. Now, the Safari Zone episode was another one that I believe was banned. I can't remember why, but I just want to know, was he allowed to use Pokemon in battle? Or was he just able to throw Pokeballs? Because I was a 4Kids kid, so I only saw the episodes that actually got premiered there, so I don't know how the Safari Zone actually works in the Pokemon universe. I'm assuming he probably just used Pikachu to knock out a bunch of them, and then he started throwing Pokeballs. Anyway, Koga's gym. Coughing is first, and we open with Psychic to take it down in one turn. Next up is Muck, and we use Psychic, taking it below half and lowering its special. We use another Psychic, and it goes down. After that, we can take out Coughing in one shot. And then last up is Wheezing, who we nail with a critical hit, taking it down and winning the battle without any kind of trouble. Now that we finish the gym, we have a couple of options that are available to us. The first option is go to Silph Co, or we can make our way to Cinnabar and try our hand at Blaine. I don't know which option is technically going to be the best for us, so what we do is we go ahead and head to Silph Co, to see how things go there first. Worst case scenario, if we lose there, then we head to Cinnabar. Pidgeot is first, and it hits us with Feather Dance, which is fine since we use Special more often than not. We take it to half with Psychic, and then Wing Attack does a small chunk as we take it to Sliver next turn. We get hit with Wing Attack again, and then finish it off with Tri Attack. Growlithe is next, so we opt to recover, gaining back our HP, as Flame Wheel does about a sixth of our HP. From there, we begin using Sharpen, hoping to avoid the burn, which we do. We take it to yellow, and our Flame Wheel connects as we recover. Flame Wheel crits this time around, so we recover again before taking it down with Psychic. Next up is Execute, and we use Tri Attack to see what kind of damage we do, and it's not the worst, but we do get Stun Spored. Confusion thankfully doesn't do much, but then it Leech Seeds us, and from there, we spend a ridiculous amount of turns being paralyzed and ultimately go down. This takes about a dozen attempts before we can win, but even then, it's close. With Pidgeot, we spend our time using Sharpen and recovering when our HP gets low, thankfully not getting Sand attacked, and we can take it down with 2 Psychics. With Growlithe, we can take it down with 2 Psychics as well. When the Execute comes out, it unfortunately paralyzes us again, but does end up going down to a few Psychics. Next is Alakazam, who sets up Future Sight as we recover, and then uses Calm Mind, which we figured it would, so that we use our boosted Tri Attack to take it down. Last is Blastoise, and it's a ridiculous amount of time getting flinched, paralyzed, Blastoise using Protect, and all around just being a bit of a pain. But thankfully, we are able to recover enough to at least stay healthy, and it eventually goes down, winning us the battle after a bit of a slog. On to Giovanni. Giovanni opens with Nidorino, and Psychic is able to take it out with 1 shot. Nidoqueen is next, and we get hit with a weak Poison Sting, taking it below half. The next turn, it only uses Tail Whip before going down. Kangaskhan is up, and we avoid a Mega Punch, doing about half with Psychic. The next Mega Punch hits hard, and we continue with Psychic. We swap to recover, as it only uses Rage, so then we can take it out the next turn, after avoiding another Mega Punch. Last is Rhyhorn, and we can take it to what I have to imagine is 1 HP, as Giovanni absolutely wrecks us with Rock Blast, nearly taking us out with a lucky 5 hit as we take it down, narrowly winning the battle. Before we go to Blaine, we try to see how things will go with Sabrina. Kadabra's up first, and it sets up Future Sight. Now, we don't want to proc a secondary effect with Tri Attack, giving the Synchronize ability, but with Kadabra, that's no problem, because it's a one-shot. Mr. Mime is next and begins setting up Calm Mind as we hit it with Tri Attack, taking it down. Venomoth is next, and it uses Supersonic as we use Psychic to take it down in 1 shot. Last up is Alakazam, and we get hit with Future Sight. Alakazam sets up Calm Mind, and we use Tri Attack, taking it to red, which is more than I thought we'd do, to be honest. Sabrina heals up, and we take it back to red a few times before Psychic takes us all the way to 6 HP as we finish it off with Tri Attack to narrowly win the badge. Now, we can head to Cinnabar, the Burnt Mansion, and see how we do against Blaine, and let me tell you, it's a rough battle. I know I've complained about it a few times this run, but despite Fire Blast not having a 100% accuracy, it hits me more often than not. We can make it through the first 2 of his Pokemon after plenty of stalling. We can make it to Rapidash. Unfortunately, during our battle there, we end up getting burnt, and it isn't too long after that, we do finally end up going down. For the first time in this challenge, we actually end up having to do some leveling. If we could outspeed every time, I think we'd be able to pull off a victory, but I'm playing the footage here, and you can kind of see that's just not the case. More often than not, Arcanine is able to do just about as much damage as we're recovering, and even if Fire Blast misses once, it still has 4 more in the pocket, and then on top of that, it also has 5 Extreme Speed, which also does damage, so yeah, we just have to level up to 60. Psychic takes out Growlithe and Ponyta in 1 shot now. Fire Blast from Rapidash takes us down to around half as we manage to 2-shot it. With Arcanine, we actually outspeed at this level, taking it to around half. Fire Blast takes us all the way down to 14 HP before we're able to take it down with another Psychic, winning the battle and the badge. And I think showing that even though we leveled up a decent chunk, we still almost lost this battle. But we only have 1 more badge to win, so let's see how that battle goes. Psychic is able to tear its way through Giovanni's team, and the only damage we take is from the Doug Trio that outspeeds us because it is ridiculously fast, but it too goes down. After that, we take down the remaining Pokemon, and that wins us the final badge. We have one more fight before the Elite Four, and with the pre-Elite Four rival fight, we get hit with Pidgeot's Wing Attack as we use Psychic, taking it down below half. Feather Dance lowers our attack, but that's fine because we can then take it down. Rhyhorn is next, so we can take it down in a single shot. Growlithe is up and lowers our attack further as we use Psychic, knocking it out in one shot. Execute is next, so we at least test damage with Psychic, taking it just below half as it uses Stun Spore, and begins drawing in Sunlight as we knock it out. Alakazam is up, and we swap over to Tri-Attack as it disables Psychic. We spend the time Paralyze, and Alakazam sets up Calm Mind before hitting us with a few Psychics to end the battle. So for the second attempt, we go ahead and take the chance to set up Sharpen as much as possible. We make sure to use Recover whenever our HP gets low, but we make sure to get as close to max attack as we possibly can without dragging on the battle too much, swapping between both Tri-Attack and Psychic Attack to absolutely demolish his team and move on without getting stuck. We make our way through Victory Road, and I kind of forgot the stats before we went in, so here, take a look at my kitty. That's Perlock Holmes. He's my best friend. Recently, I've been trying to show the stats at least a little bit, so you can kind of see what we're dealing with as we go on to the hardest set of battles. But let's go ahead and take a look at what happens with Lorelei. We open with Sharpen as we get pelted with Hail and Surf, and then heal up before finishing our setup. After that, we get hit with another Surf and heal back up, and then go on our Tri-Attack Crusade, taking out Dugong. Cloyster is able to survive a hit because its defense is bonkers, and we do end up healing a few times because of the Hail, but we're able to take it out not too long after. Slowbro is a one-shot, and then Lapras confuses us, but goes down to a crit that definitely mattered because this is the fourth attempt. Jinx is proving to be a problem every time, putting us to sleep repeatedly, and then wailing on us with attacks, but we wake up at 6 HP, snap out of confusion, and knock it out with a final attack. Now, for the sake of everyone's time and my own embarrassment, I'm not going to cover the first of many, yes, I said many, Bruno attempts. Unfortunately, he has Pokemon that are able to pretty easily outspeed us and take us out with a few super effective fighting moves. I'm sure that's not too much of a surprise given how often we've been outspeed recently. Outsped? So level 70, we can take out the Onix with a Psychic, and now we actually outspeed the Hitmonchan and take it down to one shot as well. The Hitmonlee is still very quick and able to hit us very hard with Brick Bake before going down. With Machamp, the only reason that we end up surviving this is that Cross Chop actually misses. With Onix, we take it to a Sliver, which is very surprising and I'm very concerned, but thankfully, we can live off the Earthquake that hits us and we can knock it out the next turn. Next up, we have Agatha, and usually, as long as you have a Pokemon with Psychic, you can tear through her team, assuming it can hit hard enough. This time proves to be no different, because even as Gengar confuses us, Porygon doesn't have a single thought in its brain except for knocking out every single one of her Pokemon. We do end up getting a little sleepy and take a small nap against Haunter, but all it does is set up a Mean Look and Curse, which is fine, because Porygon isn't going anywhere. And then we wake it up and we finish it off. Next, as we move on to Lance, as much as I hate to say it, it's time for us to say goodbye to Sharpen. We still need Psychic since it's such a powerful move, but given the fact that we just wouldn't be able to survive long enough to set up against these last two trainers, we replace that with Ice Beam for the dragons that we'll be dealing with. With Gyarados, we take it to around half and lower its special with Psychic. We swap over to Tri-Attack, not wanting to knock it into healing range. We do use Recover to top off as it hits us with an attack that we can then finish it off. Aerodactyl's next, and we hit it with Ice Beam, taking it to 1 HP as Lance heals up. We take it back to a Sliver, freezing it, and then we recover. As Lance hits us again with Ancient Power, we can then take it down. With Dragonite, it hits pretty strong Outrage, but we can one-shot it. After that, both of the Dragonair are a one-shot, and that wins us the battle to go on to the final rival fight. And that bell that you probably just heard is somebody subscribing to my YouTube channel at the time of recording this, so thank you, 24K Adventure. Final rival and final battle time. With Pidgeot, we can take it out with Ice Beam, but not before it hits Aerial Ace. Alakazam sets up Reflect as we try attack, but we actually freezes, so we can take it out a few turns later. Executor lives off a Sliver and heals up a bit with Giga Drain, but ends up getting healed up a few times to full before finally going down. Rhydon goes to half, but only misses its attack, so we can take it down. As Arcanine comes out, it hits us with Flamethrower down to 32 HP as we use Psychic, but unfortunately it hits us with Extreme Speed and we go down. Well, let's see how long this battle takes. And the answer is a while. We do end up having to level up again because of the Arcanine. More often than not, it does a lot of damage with Flamethrower, and then when it gets tired of that, it just uses Extreme Speed. Best case scenario, we can make it to Blastoise, but between Rain Dance and Hydro Pump, it's wrecking us because we can't out-recover the damage output at this level. If we can tank the attacks a bit better, we may be able to win this. At level 85, we can take out the Pidgeot with an Ice Beam, taking it out in one shot. With the Alakazam, we can take it out in a few turns as well, though we do get taken down pretty far in the process. Next up is Executor, who gets knocked out with a single Ice Beam as well. We spend the time healing up with Arcanine as it hits us with repeated Flamethrowers, and we can take it to half, get hit again, and then take it down. Blastoise is out last, and at this level, we can actually take the Rain Dance boosted Hydro Pump. So we basically just stall it out, letting it use up all PP with that move, and then once that's done, we're able to go on the offensive, and a lot of healing potions and psychic attacks later, we finally take it out and win the battle and the run. That was a bit more difficult than I thought it was going to be during the back half of the game, but a lowered speed stat is always going to be an issue in solo runs. As a whole, I enjoyed that particular run. Now, being serious for a moment, as a word of warning, I do want to say have a safe and happy month. I was streaming at the time of recording this audio just yesterday, at the time of the video posting, about a week ago, and I started getting hit with bots, some attaching my name directly to it with some less than okay enough phrases. I've made sure to lock down Twitch and the Discord at least until the month is up. If you want to get a Discord invite this time around, hit me up on Twitter at BrickerBoom91. As always, we have the Patreon, the Discord, which will probably be unlocked after this month. And if you like the video, even if you didn't like the video, hit the like and subscribe button, because it really does help me out. And until next time, everybody, peace out. P.S. Have a great month. And next week, if you made it this far, we'll be taking a Chansey on this next challenge. It's a Chansey run. Okay, bye.